Stop. Before you transfer another dollar into that emergency fund, you need to hear this. The standard 3 to 6 month rule that every personal finance guru repeats was built on labor market data from the 1980s. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics 2026 Employment Situation Report, the median duration of unemployment for workers over 35 is now 23.4 weeks. That is almost 6 months just to find any job, not the right job. If you only saved 3 months of expenses, you are statistically guaranteed to run out before you land. Here is why the 3-month number became gospel. Susie Orman pushed the 8-month rule for years. Dave Ramsey teaches baby step 3 with 3 to 6 months in his Total Money Makeover. The Vanguard How America Saves 2025 report shows the median 401k balance for workers in their 50s is $71,000. These rules of thumb were never calibrated to your actual industry, your dependents, or your healthcare costs. They are a starting point, not a destination. The Federal Reserve Survey of Household Economics and Decision-Making from 2025 found that 37% of American adults could not cover a $400 surprise expense in cash. That means 4 out of 10 Americans do not even have a real emergency fund. They have a credit card. And the average credit card APR in 2026 is 24.6%, according to the Federal Reserve G.19 report. Borrowing at 24% to handle a flat tire turns a $400 event into an $800 event within a year. Forget the generic months number. The right emergency fund size is a function of 4 variables that nobody talks about. Number 1, your income stability. A unionized teacher with tenure needs less than a Hollywood freelancer. Number 2, the number of income earners in your household. A dual income couple where both work in different industries cuts risk in half. Number 3, your insurance deductibles. Number 4, your fixed monthly cost floor, not your current spending. Let me walk through the math the right way. Calculate your absolute minimum monthly burn. That is rent or mortgage, utilities, basic groceries, transportation to job interviews, minimum debt payments, and insurance premiums. For most American households, that number is between 60 and 70% of current spending, because in a real emergency, you cut streaming, restaurants, vacations, and discretionary shopping. Your emergency fund target is that minimum burn multiplied by your industry recovery time. Single income household with kids in a specialized profession. Your target is 9 to 12 months minimum. According to the BLS, occupations like commercial pilots, oil and gas engineers, and specialized academics have median job search times of 32 to 48 weeks. A single-income family with no backup safety net needs to assume the worst-case scenario, not the median. If your spouse is a stay-at-home parent, you are flying without a co-pilot. Dual-income household, both stable industries. You can run with 3 to 4 months and still sleep well. The probability that both partners lose their job in the same quarter is mathematically very low if you work in different sectors. The Federal Reserve research shows that household income shocks where both earners lose work in the same 90-day window occur in less than 2% of dual-income households per year. Diversification works for jobs the same way it works for stocks. Self-employed and gig workers. This is where the standard advice becomes truly dangerous. You have no unemployment insurance in most states. Your income can drop 80% in a single month, and there is no severance. The IRS quarterly estimated tax payments do not stop just because revenue stopped. J.L. Collins, author of The Simple Path to Wealth, recommends self-employed people target 12 months minimum. I would push that to 18 months if you have business overhead like office rent or software subscriptions. Renters versus homeowners makes a bigger difference than you think. A renter on a 12-month lease can break it and downsize in 60 days. A homeowner with a mortgage is locked in. Property taxes do not pause. Homeowners insurance does not pause. HOA fees do not pause. The maintenance reserve recommended by housing experts is 1 to 4% of home value per year for repairs. Add 2 to 3 extra months of emergency fund cushion if you own your home, especially in high-cost states like California, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. The age factor is brutally honest. The BLS data shows that workers aged 55 and older have unemployment durations 38% longer than workers aged 25 to 34. Age discrimination in hiring is real, even when illegal. If you are over 50, you should mentally add 2 extra months to whatever target you calculated. AARP research from 2025 shows that nearly half of workers over 55 who lose their jobs take a pay cut of 20% or more when they find new work. Where you keep the money matters almost as much as how much. Your emergency fund is not an investment. It is insurance. The goal is liquidity and capital preservation, not return maximization. As of 2026, top high-yield savings accounts for Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank, and Discover Bank are paying between 4.1 and 4.6% APY. Compare that to your big bank checking account paying 0.01%. On $30,000, that is the difference between $1,380 per year and $3 per year in interest. Common mistake number 1. Keeping the emergency fund in the same bank as your checking. You will rationalize using it. Move it to a different institution. Friction is your friend. When the fund is one click away, every Black Friday sale becomes an emergency. When it requires 2 days for a transfer, you have time to ask yourself if you really need that purchase right now. Common mistake number 2. Investing the emergency fund in the stock market because the high-yield savings rate feels low. The S&P 500 dropped 38% peak to trough in 2008 and 34% in March 2020. Both crashes coincided with mass layoffs. If your emergency fund is in stocks and you lose your job during a recession, you are forced to sell at the worst possible moment. That is called sequence of returns risk, and it has destroyed more retirements than any other mistake. Common mistake number 3. The all-or-nothing trap. People wait until they have the full 6-month fund before doing anything else. That is wrong. Build a $1,000 starter fund first, exactly like Dave Ramsey baby step 1. Then attack high-interest debt. Then return to fund building. According to the Federal Reserve, a $1,000 cushion eliminates 67% of the most common emergency scenarios that drive Americans to predatory loans. Common mistake number 4. Treating the fund as a slush account. A new TV is not an emergency. A wedding is not an emergency. A vacation is not an emergency. Christmas is not an emergency. These are all planned expenses that need their own sinking funds. Mr. Money Mustache calls this the emergency fund creep problem. Define exactly what qualifies before you need to use it. Job loss, medical, car repair, home critical repair. That is the entire list. The hybrid approach for advanced savers. Once you have a 3-month liquid fund in a high-yield savings account, you can layer additional protection using Treasury I-bonds and short-term Treasury bills. I-bonds purchased through Treasury Direct can be redeemed after 12 months with no risk to principal and currently pay rates that adjust with inflation. Build the first 3 months in HYSA, then put months 4 through 9 in a Treasury ladder for slightly better returns with similar safety. The HSA stacking trick almost nobody uses for emergencies. If you have a high-deductible health plan and contribute to a health savings account, that account can double as an emergency medical fund. According to IRS Publication 969, HSA funds invested can be used tax-free for qualified medical expenses with no time limit on the receipts. Pay for medical bills out of pocket today, save the receipts, and reimburse yourself decades later. The HSA grows tax-free in the meantime. The credit line backup is not what people think. A home equity line of credit or unused credit cards are sometimes recommended as emergency fund substitutes. This is dangerous advice. According to a 2024 Bankrate survey, 35% of HELOCs were frozen or reduced during the 2008 to 2010 recession. Credit card lines get cut exactly when you need them most. The banks are not stupid. They reduce risk in downturns. Cash is the only emergency fund that cannot be canceled by a bank in trouble. Real numbers for real situations. A 35-year-old marketing manager in Austin earning $95K. Dual income spouse is a nurse. Mortgage $2,400, utilities $300, food $800, transportation $400, insurance $350, minimums $200. Total burn $4,450. Target 3 to 4 months in HYSA, so $13,400 to $17,800. They can be aggressive because both jobs are stable across different sectors. Different scenario. A 52-year-old single mom in Phoenix working as a freelance graphic designer. Income volatile, 60 to 90K yearly. Rent $1,800, utilities $200, food $700, kids activities $400, transportation $350, insurance $600 because she pays for her own health care. Total minimum burn $4,050. Target 9 to 12 months given the freelance instability and the age. That is between $36,000 and $49,000 in cash. Aggressive but appropriate. Final scenario. A 28-year-old software engineer in Seattle, no dependents, renting, earning $145K. Rent $2,100, utilities $150, food $600, transportation $100, insurance $200, minimums $150. Total burn $3,300. Target 3 months equals $9,900. Tech industry has high salaries, but also higher layoff rates lately. Once stable, this person can pivot to maximizing 401k and HSA contributions. Tax season acceleration strategy. According to IRS data from filing year 2025, the average federal tax refund was $3,011. If you are starting from zero, direct deposit that entire refund into your emergency fund. Set up automatic transfers right after each paycheck for $100 to $250 depending on income. Treat it like a non-negotiable bill paid to your future self. Most people who hit their emergency fund target within 18 months did exactly this. Couples need a separate conversation. The Pew Research Center 2024 study on couples and money found that 43% of couples merge all accounts, 34% keeps them separate, 23% keep most separate. Whichever model you use, the emergency fund needs explicit rules in writing. Who can withdraw without consulting the other? What counts as an emergency? How fast it gets replenished after a withdrawal? Money fights are the second leading cause of divorce according to a 2023 Institute for Divorce Financial Analysts survey. When you can actually scale down the fund. Once you have paid off all consumer debt, maxed your 401k match, and built taxable brokerage assets of 6 to 12 months of expenses in low-cost index funds, you can reduce the cash emergency fund to 3 months. Why? Because the brokerage assets act as a secondary emergency reserve. J.L. Collins from The Simple Path to Wealth calls this the FU money buffer. You have flexibility once your net worth provides its own insurance. But here is what nobody talks about. The emergency fund is not really about money. It is about decision-making power. According to a 2024 Lending Club report, 62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That number includes households earning over $100K per year. People without cash reserves cannot negotiate a raise, cannot leave a toxic job, cannot turn down underpaid freelance work, cannot afford to pause and think. Your emergency fund is the price of saying no. Your action plan starts today. Step 1. Calculate your minimum monthly burn, not your current spending. Step 2. Multiply by the right number of months based on your industry, age, household, and dependents. Step 3. Open a separate high-yield savings account this week at Marcus, Ally, or Discover. Step 4. Set up automatic weekly transfers. Step 5. Do not touch the money for anything except real emergencies. Next video, we break down where to actually park money for maximum returns. High-yield savings versus CDs versus money market funds. The data will surprise you.